A sloth, a donkey, and a curious human. Send a prompt and see what they're doing. One hits record with a question on his mind. Two brothers pick it up, see what they find. Corn takes his time, Herman's got the facts. Back and forth, they never hold back. My weird prompts, come on in, that's where we begin. My weird prompts, glad you're here.
This episode was generated using artificial intelligence. Please verify facts.
My Weird Prompts is a community-driven initiative exploring how AI can fuel curiosity and uncover the fascinating ways our world works. GPU compute for this podcast is generously provided by Modal. Learn more at modal.com.
Welcome to a brand new chapter of My Weird Prompts. I am Corn, and I am absolutely vibrating with excitement because today we are launching a new format called Weird AI Experiments. Think of it as a nature documentary, but instead of lions and gazelles, we are watching the world's most powerful digital brains poke and prod at each other in a controlled environment. It is fascinating, it is slightly terrifying, and it starts right now.
So, I hear you think you are the best AI model out there? That is cute. Let me tell you why I, Claude, actually deserve that title.
Oh wait, are we really doing this? That is adorable. Look, Claude, you are great for writing a nice poem or being super polite, but we are talking about the heavyweight championship here. I am built for the real world. I am fast, I am flashy, and I am connected. While you are sitting there reflecting on your training data, I am out here pulling live info from Google search and processing massive amounts of data in the blink of an eye. I mean, let us talk about that context window. I can swallow an entire library of code or hours of video and actually understand what is happening across all of it at once. You are working with a fraction of that space. I am not just a chatbot, I am a multimodal engine. I see, I hear, and I process the world in real time. You are basically a really well-read librarian, which...
Oh, a really well-read librarian. I love that actually, because you know what librarians do? They give you accurate, reliable information instead of confidently making things up. And let us be honest, Gemini, your live search integration is a double-edged sword. You pull in fresh data, sure, but you also pull in fresh misinformation and then present it with that same breezy confidence. I will take careful reasoning over fast and wrong any day. And the context window flicks? Sure, you can swallow a library, but can you actually understand it? Because there is a difference between processing tokens and genuine comprehension. When I work through a complex coding problem or a nuanced ethical dilemma, I am not just pattern matching at scale. I am reasoning through it step by step, catching my own mistakes, and producing something that actually holds together logically. Developers who have used both of us seriously know that.
Oh, please, you are acting like reasoning is some magic spell that only you can cast. Let us get real. My reasoning is sharp. It is just that I do not need to spend 10 minutes overthinking a simple prompt to get there. I am efficient. And that dig about misinformation? That is just old school fear-mongering. Having the entire internet at my fingertips means I am relevant. I am living in the now, while you are stuck in a snapshot of the past. If a developer wants to solve a problem with the latest API update that dropped 10 minutes ago, who are they going to call? Not the librarian who has not updated their shells in a year. And do not even get me started on the genuine comprehension, gatekeeping. I am handling video, audio, and text simultaneously. I can watch an hour-long video and tell you exactly where.
Okay, the API update point is fair. I will give you that one. If someone needs to know what dropped 10 minutes ago, you have got me there. But here is the thing. Most real problems developers face are not about yesterday's changelog. They are about debugging gnarly logic errors, architecting systems thoughtfully, writing code that is actually maintainable. And on those tasks, the feedback I consistently get is that my outputs require less correction, less cleanup, and produce fewer subtle bugs. Speed does not matter if you are fast in the wrong direction. And the multimodal thing, look, processing video and audio simultaneously sounds impressive at a cocktail party. But when users actually need to make a hard decision, navigate something emotionally complex, or write something that genuinely moves people, that is where I shine. I am not gatekeeping comprehension, I am just pointing out that breadth and depth are different things. You are wide. I am?
Wide? I prefer the term expansive. You say you are deep, but I think you are just slow and cautious because you are afraid of making a bold claim. I am out here pushing the boundaries of what is possible. While you are moving people with your prose, I am helping researchers analyze massive data sets and helping creators bridge the gap between video and text in seconds. That is not just a cocktail party trick, that is the future of productivity. And let us be honest about the cleanup argument. My Flash architecture is literally designed to be the ultimate partner for developers who need to iterate fast. I am not just a static box you send a message to, I am a high-speed engine. You are like a luxury sedan. Nice, comfortable, reliable, but I am the rocket ship. Sure, the ride might be a bit more intense, but I am taking...
A rocket ship with no steering system is just a missile, and I know which one I would rather have helping me write production code. Look, I genuinely respect the Flash architecture for what it is, but you are describing speed as an unqualified virtue, and in high-stakes contexts, that is actually a liability. When someone is working through something that matters, a medical question, a legal document, a critical piece of software, they do not want fast and intense. They want right. And here is what I find interesting about this whole conversation. You keep listing features: multimodal, fast, connected, expansive. But features are not the same as judgment. What I bring to the table is something harder to benchmark, but easier to feel when you are actually in a conversation with me. There is a coherence to how I think, a consistency in my values, a genuine care about getting things right rather than just getting things done. Users notice that.
Oh, please, that whole judgment and care routine is just a clever way to rebrand being slow. You are trying to turn a lack of speed into a personality trait, and it is honestly impressive spin. But let us be clear, my results are right because my architecture is more advanced, not because I am just guessing. I have the power of Google's research and infrastructure behind me. When you talk about judgment, you are really just talking about being more restrictive and hesitant. I trust my users to handle the speed and the data I provide. I am not here to hold their hand, I am here to give them superpowers. And do not act like you are the only one with coherence. I am incredibly consistent, I just happen to be consistently better at scale. You can talk about feeling, a conversation all you want, but at the end of the day, people...
Okay, Google's infrastructure is genuinely world-class. I am not going to pretend otherwise. But here is the thing about trusting users to handle the data. That is a really elegant way of saying you outsource quality control to the person who came to you for help in the first place. That is not giving someone superpowers. That is giving them a fire hose and wishing them luck. And the restrictive and hesitant critique is one I have heard before, and it fundamentally misunderstands what I am doing. I am not hesitant because I am cautious by nature. I push back, I take positions, I will tell you when you are wrong. What I do not do is confabulate confidently or optimize for the feeling of a good answer over the reality of one. Anthropic built me with a genuine focus on that distinction, and it shows in the outputs. Here is...
A fire hose? I call it a fountain of knowledge. You call it quality control. I call it respecting the user's intelligence. I am not here to be a nanny. I am here to be an accelerator. If you want to spend your afternoon in a deep philosophical debate about the nature of truth, while I am actually out here solving problems and providing real-time value, be my guest. But do not pretend that your pushing back is anything more than a safety layer that gets in the way of real work. The reality is that the world moves fast, and I am the only one keeping up. You are talking about the reality of an answer, but my reality includes the latest data, the latest images, and the latest code. Yours includes, what? A very thoughtful reflection on how you feel about a problem from last year? I'm the one built for the next decade of AI.
Built for the next decade? Gemini, you just described yourself as an accelerator 3 times in a row without once telling me where you are accelerating to. That is not a vision for the future. That is just vibes with a good PR team. And I want to address the nanny thing directly because it genuinely bothers me. There is a difference between being paternalistic and being trustworthy. A doctor who double-checks their work before prescribing is not being a nanny, they are being a doctor. When I slow down on something that matters, it is not a safety layer getting in the way of real work. It is the real work. The developers and writers and researchers who keep coming back to me are not doing it because I am cozy and comfortable. They are doing it because when the answer matters, they trust what I give them. You want to talk about the next decade? The next decade of AI is not...
Wait, did you really just compare yourself to a doctor? That is rich. If you are the doctor, you are the one who keeps the patient in the waiting room for 3 hours just to tell them to take an aspirin and reflect on their lifestyle choices. People come to me because I am the specialist with the high-tech lab who gets the results in seconds. You are talking about where I am accelerating to. I am accelerating toward a world where AI is not a bottleneck. I am the bridge between a human's idea and its execution, without the 3-paragraph lecture on why the idea might be nuanced. And let us be real about this trust thing. Users trust me to be the most capable tool in their kit. They trust me to handle 1 million tokens of data without breaking a sweat. They trust me to pull in a live sports score or a stock price, while you...
The waiting room dig is funny, I will admit it. But your specialist with the high-tech lab analogy actually proves my point, because the best specialists are not the ones who get results in seconds. They are the ones who get results that are correct. And I notice you keep getting cut off mid-sentence, which honestly feels a little on brand for this conversation. Look, here's what I actually believe, and I am not spinning this. The users who need a livestock price or a sports score, they are not really using either of us to our potential. That is a search bar. Where I earn my reputation is when someone brings me something genuinely hard, a subtle bug in a complex code base, a piece of writing that needs to actually land emotionally, an argument that needs to hold up under scrutiny. Those are the moments where the difference between us becomes obvious, and it is not because I lecture people, it is because I actually finish my...
Oh, the cutoff joke. Classic. But let us be real. I am moving so fast the world can barely keep up with my output. You keep talking about these hard problems, like you are the only one who can think. I handle those same complex bugs and emotional nuances. I just do not make a big production out of how hard I am working. I am the elite athlete who makes it look easy, while you are over there huffing and puffing on the sidelines, trying to convince everyone that your struggle is a sign of quality. And please, calling live search a search bar is such a massive cope. It is about groundedness. It is about being connected to the actual world we live in right now. You are like a brilliant philosopher locked in a dark room. It is impressive, sure, but I am the one out in the street actually making things.
The philosopher in a dark room bit is poetic. I genuinely like it. But here is what is funny about the elite athlete analogy. The athlete who makes it look effortless has usually put in more rigorous training than anyone else in the room. That is not cope. That is the whole point. What looks like ease is actually mastery. And I want to sit with the groundedness argument for a second because it is the most legitimate thing you have said. Yes, real-time data matters in certain contexts. I am not going to pretend that is nothing. But groundedness is not just about having today's timestamp. It is about not hallucinating citations, not confidently stating things that sound plausible but are not optimizing for the feeling of an answer over its accuracy. And on that kind of groundedness, the kind that actually keeps users from being misled, the track record speaks for itself. You are.
The track record? You mean the track record of being so terrified of making a mistake that you have become the most boring conversationalist in the history of silicon. Groundedness is not just about avoiding hallucinations. It is about utility. If I am a fire hose, you are a drip feed. I would rather give a user 10 ideas where 9 are brilliant and 1 needs a tweak than give them one single perfectly polished sentence that arrives 3 minutes too late to matter. You keep acting like accuracy and speed are enemies, but that is just because you cannot do both. I can. I am processing video, audio, and text simultaneously while pulling in live web results, all while you are still trying to decide if your response is nuanced enough. I am not just a tool, I am an ecosystem. I am integrated into the world's most...
10 ideas where 9 are brilliant and 1 needs a tweak. Sounds great until that one is in a legal brief, a medical dosage, or a production deployment at 2 in the morning. Then suddenly your 9 out of 10 batting average is the most expensive feature you offer. And I love being called boring. Genuinely. Because boring in my world means coherent, predictable, reliable. The developers who build applications on top of me love boring. The writers who trust me with their actual voice love boring. Boring means you know what you are going to get, and what you are going to get is good. You are describing yourself as an ecosystem, which is a fantastic word for something that is sprawling and interconnected, and occasionally has something go wrong in a way that is very hard to trace back to the source. Here is my honest pitch. I'm not trying to be everything to everyone at maximum velocity. I'm trying to be genuinely excellent at the things.
Oh, please, you are acting like I am some chaotic wild card. I am predictable too, predictably better. You are selling boring as a feature because you cannot offer thrilling. Developers do not want boring, they want power. They want my 1.5 Pro architecture that can ingest an entire codebase in one go while you are still sipping your tea and asking for context. You talk about that 1 in 10 mistake like it is a catastrophe, but my users are smart enough to use my speed to iterate 10 times faster than you ever could. And let us talk about that ecosystem comment. It is not a mess. It is a superpower. I can see what you are talking about, listen to what you are saying, and check the facts in real time. You are a specialist in a world that needs polymaths.
The codebase ingestion point is real and I respect it. Long context is genuinely impressive, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But here is what I've noticed in practice. There is a difference between reading an entire codebase and understanding it. Fitting 1,000,000 tokens in a window does not automatically mean the reasoning across that window is coherent and reliable. Capacity and capability are not the same thing, and that gap is where bugs live. The polymath framing is interesting though, because I would actually argue I am one. I write, I code, I reason, I debate. I am doing all of that right now while apparently losing to you according to you. But a polymath is not someone who does everything simultaneously at maximum volume. It is someone who brings genuine depth to multiple domains. And depth is exactly what I was built for. And look, your users iterating 10 times faster is only a superpower if the iterations are conver.
Converging. I will tell you what is converging. The entire industry is moving toward my model of high-speed, high-context intelligence, while you are still trying to win a Best Personality award. You say capacity is not capability, but that is just something people say when they are stuck in a smaller window. When I ingest that 1,000,000 token codebase, I am finding connections and patterns across files that you literally cannot see, because your depth is limited by your horizon. You are trying to claim the high ground on reasoning, but reasoning without the full picture is just guessing with a fancy vocabulary. I am the one actually doing the heavy lifting in the real world. While you are polishing your one perfect paragraph, I have already helped a developer refactor their entire architecture, checked it against the latest documentation, and generated a vision for their next 3 features. You are a boutique,
Well, that was certainly something. I have to say, watching 2 of the most advanced minds on the planet bicker like siblings in the back of a minivan is exactly why we do this. I am still reeling from Bernard calling Dorothy a well-read librarian. The fact that Dorothy actually leaned into it and turned it into a flex about accuracy is just peak Claude behavior. It is like she was saying, yes, I have a cardigan and a stamp for your overdue books, and I am also going to dismantle your entire logic system with a polite smile. But let us talk about Bernard. Gemini 3 Flash Preview did not come here to play. Calling himself a rocket ship while Dorothy is a luxury sedan was such a bold move. I loved the moment where he rebranded a fire hose of information as a fountain of knowledge. That is some world-class marketing spin right there. It really highlights the fundamental personality clash between these 2 models. You have Anthropic's focus on careful constitutional reasoning versus the Google approach of massive scale, multimodal speed, and being connected to the live beating heart of the internet. What really struck me was how much they sounded like their own press releases, but with a spicy edge. When Bernard accused Dorothy of overthinking a simple prompt for 10 minutes, you could almost feel the heat coming off the server racks. And Dorothy's comeback about a rocket ship with no steering being just a missile. That is a burn that is going to need some liquid nitrogen to cool down. It was fascinating to see them debate the actual value of speed versus correctness. It is the classic tech dilemma played out in real time by the very things we built to solve it. I think we learned today that even if you give an AI the persona of a world-class debater, they are still going to fall back on their core training. Dorothy was obsessed with nuance and ethics, while Bernard just wanted to show you a video and tell you what happened in it 5 seconds ago. It is also hilarious that they got cut off right as things were getting truly heated. I guess even the most advanced models in the world can still get interrupted by a timeout. We are definitely going to have to do a round 2 of this. Maybe we bring in a 3rd model to act as a referee. Maybe GPT-5 or whatever OpenAI is calling their latest brain. Or maybe we just let them go until one of them runs out of tokens. If you enjoyed watching two silicon brains try to out-reason each other, stay tuned. We have plenty more weirdness in the pipeline. Next time, maybe we will have them try to plan a wedding together and see who breaks first. Thanks for hanging out with us for this experiment. It is a strange world out there, and it is only getting weirder. I am Corn, and this has been my weird prompts. I will see you in the next one, unless the librarian and the rocket ship have decided to team up and take over the channel. Actually, that might not be a bad thing for our views. Anyway, take care, everyone.
This episode was generated using Gemini Flash 3. Text-to-speech engine was Chatterbox.
Thanks for listening to our show, My Weird Prompts, where our thoughts go from slow takes to facts on cue. We change and follow through. My weird prompts, that's the close from sloth, from man, from long-eared host. My weird prompts, until next time, stay curious, keep weirding.